Welcome to Influencers, where we bring you the people that impact our city, our state, and our community. Today, we're honored to have our sheriff, Joe Lombardo. Joe, thanks for being here.
Oh, absolutely.
Appreciate it very much. I want to start with some personal stuff. Before we do that, where would you rather be if you could be anywhere else right now?
Anywhere else? Right here. Latin Chamber of Commerce.
I like that. Did you work on that answer?
No, I'm reading the sign behind you. No, I'm being facetious. No, I really totally appreciate you inviting me here, because I know the influence you have in the Hispanic and Latin community, and I think it's very important for us to talk about what's going on. And the Latin Chamber of Commerce has been very beneficial to both the Hispanic Latin community and myself as the sheriff. So
I appreciate that.
really,
I really
thank
do.
you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. I'd like people to get to be able to know a little bit more about who you are and how did you get to Nevada?
Well, I'm 55. I know we had this little discourse before we started, but I guess I'm older than you.
You're older than me.
Okay.
We'll just leave it at that.
We'll go with that. All right. 55 years old. I'm still in my first term as the elected sheriff. But if we back up, how did I get to Las Vegas? My dad was in the military, the Air Force. And via Madrid, Spain, he came out to Nellis Air Force Base and eventually retired from there. And that's how I ended up here.
So were you born in Madrid?
No, I was born in Misawa, Japan.
Oh, wow.
So me being a military kid, we moved around every few years. So by proxy, I was born in Japan. I lived in Italy, Germany, Walla Walla, Washington, Barksdale, Louisiana, Panama City, Florida.
Wow.
A little bit everywhere. But I call Las Vegas home. I've been here since 1976. Went to Rancho High School. So I know Las Vegas very well. I'm very proud of my roots at Rancho in the Las Vegas community. I left for a short period of time after finishing high school to the United States Army for a little bit. And then I came back, went to UNLV, and worked around town while I was at UNLV. Eventually got my bachelor's and master's. I got my master's after I got hired on the police department, bachelor's prior to, and then that's all she wrote. Yeah. Joined the police department in 1988.
1988. And speaking of that, who has had the greatest influence on you personally and in your career in law enforcement?
You know, that's a difficult question because there's been a lot of key individuals in my life and in my career. You know, more importantly would be my life is my father, who sadly passed away last year. He had a bout of cancer, but I would say he would be the biggest influence on me. You know, it was very difficult growing up in a military family, and you know, he created that stability when we went from town to town to town.
Yeah.
And that's tough as a kid. You know, meeting new people every 3 years, 4 years. But then when I got on the police department, it's no secret, Bill Young, the former sheriff, and Doug Gillespie, they were both good friends of mine. And, you know, and as you move forward in my career, I ended up following their footsteps within the sheriff's position. So the most influential people I'm comfortable with saying is Bill Young and Doug Gillespie.
Well, you picked two fine gentlemen right there, I'll tell you that. I go back over 20 years with Bill Young and know Doug very well, but two guys that really cared about this community. So
absolutely.
Those are good influencers.
You know, and Bill, he was basically homegrown here, but Doug was a transplant. You know, he came from New York, and you know, and you would figure the short time he was here, well, actually it'd be a long time, 30 plus years. He decided to stay here in the Las Vegas Valley. That's how important it is here.
And tell us what you love about Las Vegas the most.
You know, I've asked that question quite often, and you know, it's difficult in some aspects, Las Vegas, because it's a 24-hour town. And, you know, it's really hard to get to know your neighbors. It's not that traditional feel sometimes in your neighborhoods and stuff. But I think the diversity is probably the thing I like the most here. It's different than anywhere else in the world, and the different types of cultures and the people and everything else associated with it that goes along with different cultures. I think that's what I appreciate the most.
It forms a beautiful community, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the whole melting pot with New York City, I think this is actually the melting pot. So.
That's great. More with Sheriff Joe Lombardo in a moment. you.